Serin and Alar. Two villages, nestled in a picturesque valley, yet divided by a river that seemed to grow wider with each passing year. Separated by a river, joined by a history of mistrust and animosity that ran as deep as the waters themselves. Generations had passed, each inheriting the bitterness of the last, like an unwanted heirloom passed down through time. No one remembered the reason for the feud, only the pain it caused, a pain that had become a part of their very identity. Walls of anger stood tall, casting long shadows over the land, dividing not just the villages, but hearts and minds as well. The villagers of Serin kept to themselves, their faces etched with suspicion and wariness, always looking over their shoulders. The laughter of children from Alar carried across the water, a painful reminder of the division, a sound that was both joyful and heartbreaking. The elders spoke of a time before the feud, a time of shared harvests and celebrations, when the river was a source of life, not a barrier. Those stories felt like faded tapestries, beautiful but out of reach, relics of a past that seemed almost mythical in its harmony and peace. There were whispers of hope, though, of a future where the river could once again unite rather than divide, where the laughter of children would be a shared joy, not a painful echo. As the sun rose each day, it brought with it the possibility of change, a new dawn that could wash away the shadows of the past. And so, the villagers of Serin and Alar looked to the horizon, hoping for a day when the feud would be nothing more than a distant memory, and the river a symbol of unity. Amara, her hair as white as the snow-capped mountains, remembered those stories. Stories of a time when the village was a haven of joy and unity, where every face was familiar and every heart was open. She remembered a time when laughter knew no borders. The children played freely, their giggles echoing through the fields, and the adults shared stories and meals without a second thought. But those days seemed like a distant dream now. The feud had taken its toll, leaving her weary. The once vibrant village was now a shadow of its former self, with mistrust and sorrow etched on every face. One day, as she sat in her garden, a thought bloomed in her heart, fragile yet persistent. Amidst the blooming flowers and the gentle rustle of leaves, she found a glimmer of hope. Peace. She yearned for it, for her village, for Alar, for the land itself. She longed to see the village united once more, to hear the laughter of children and the harmonious chatter of neighbors. Amara knew that peace would not come easily. It needed a catalyst, a gesture of goodwill. She pondered deeply, searching for a way to bridge the chasm that had grown between the villages. An idea took shape in her mind, audacious in its simplicity. It was a small gesture, but one that she hoped would plant the seed of peace. She would bake bread, the bread of her ancestors, and take it to Alar as a peace offering. The aroma of freshly baked bread would carry with it the promise of reconciliation. She would invite the women of Alar to break bread with the women of Serin. Around a shared table, they could find common ground, share their stories, and begin to heal the wounds of the past. Perhaps, she thought, hearts could be softened, one bite at a time. In the simple act of sharing a meal, they could rediscover their shared humanity and sow the seeds of a lasting peace. Pause 3S. Amara's resolve strengthened with each passing day. She gathered the finest ingredients, kneading the dough with care and love, as if each fold in turn were a prayer for peace. The bread, golden and fragrant, was a symbol of her hope, a bridge she sought to build between two estranged communities. Pause 2S. On the day of her journey, the sun rose with a gentle promise, casting a warm glow over the village. Amara wrapped the bread in a linen cloth, its warmth a comforting reminder of the task ahead. She walked through the village, her heart pounding with anticipation and a hint of fear. The path to Alar was lined with memories, some sweet, some bitter, but today each step felt lighter, filled with purpose. Pause 2S. As she approached the outskirts of Alar, she saw familiar faces, etched with years of distrust. They watched her, uncertain, as she held out the bread. Silence hung in the air, heavy and expectant. Amara took a deep breath and spoke, her voice steady but soft. "I come in peace. This bread is a symbol of the unity we once had. Let us break it together and find a way back to each other." Pause. 2S. There was a moment of hesitation, a fragile pause where time seemed to stand still. Then a woman from Alar stepped forward, her eyes meeting Amara's with a glimmer of recognition and hope. She reached out, taking the bread, and broke it in half. The gesture, simple yet profound, sent ripples through the gathered crowd. Pause. 2S. Slowly others joined, faces softening, barriers beginning to crumble. Around that shared table they found not just bread but a common ground, a shared humanity. Stories flowed, laughter returned, and the first seeds of reconciliation were sown. Amara's journey of healing had begun, one bite at a time, bringing her village and Alar closer to a future of renewed unity and peace. Pause. 3S. The sun set that day over a village transformed, its golden light a promise of new beginnings, and as the stars began to twinkle, Amara knew that the journey was far from over, but the path to healing had been found. Pause. 3S. The journey of healing had started, and with each step the dream of a united village came closer to reality. Pause. 3S. The days that followed were marked by cautious optimism. Amara's act of offering bread had opened a dialogue, a fragile thread of trust beginning to weave through the fabric of their communities. Pause. 2S. The villagers of Alar and Amara's village started to meet regularly, sharing meals and stories under the old oak tree that stood between their lands. It became a place of gathering, a symbol of the unity they were striving to rebuild. Pause. 2S. Children played together, their laughter a soothing balm over old wounds. Elders exchanged wisdom, their conversations filled with the echoes of a shared past and dreams of a harmonious future. Pause. 2S. The process was slow and sometimes painful, but with each shared meal, each shared story, the bonds grew stronger. Amara watched with a heart full of hope, knowing that unity was being forged not just through grand gestures, but through the simple, everyday acts of kindness and understanding. Pause. 2S. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden hue over the village, a decision was made. The villagers from both sides agreed to build a communal hall, a place where they could gather, celebrate, and plan their shared future. Pause. 2S. The construction of the hall became a joint effort, a tangible representation of their commitment to unity. Men and women worked side by side, their hands crafting not just a building, but a new chapter in their shared history. Pause. 2S. On the day the hall was completed, a grand feast was held. The air was filled with the aroma of freshly baked bread, roasted meats, and the sweet scent of fruit. Pause. 2S. Songs of joy and laughter echoed through the night as the villagers celebrated their newfound unity. As Amara looked around at the smiling faces, she felt a deep sense of fulfillment. Pause. 2S. The journey had been long and arduous, but the dream of a united village was now a reality. And as the stars twinkled above, she knew that this unity, forged through shared struggles and triumphs, would shine brightly for generations to come. Pause. 3S. The unity they had achieved was not the end, but the beginning of a new story, one where they walked together, hand in hand, towards a future filled with hope and harmony. Pause. 3S. The unity forged between the villages of Alar and Amara did not go unnoticed. News of their reconciliation spread to neighboring communities, inspiring others to seek peace and collaboration. Pause. 2S. Neighboring villages, once divided by similar feuds, began to visit the communal hall, eager to learn from the example set by Alar and Amara's village. Pause. 2S. The hall became a beacon of hope, a place where people from different backgrounds could come together to share their stories, their struggles, and their dreams. Pause. 2S. As more villages joined this growing network of peace, the ripple effect of unity spread far and wide. Pause 2S. Merchants from distant lands brought news of the peaceful alliance, encouraging trade and cultural exchange. Pause 2S. Festivals celebrating unity and harmony started to take place, drawing crowds from all corners of the region. Pause 2S. The children, who had once only known conflict, now grew up in a world where cooperation and understanding were the norms. Pause 2S. The lessons learned from Alar and Amara's journey of healing became an integral part of the region's way of life, taught in schools and passed down through generations. Pause 2S. Amara, now an elder, watched with pride as the seeds of peace she had helped plant flourished into a thriving garden of unity. Pause 2S. The ripple effect of their efforts had created a legacy of harmony, proving that even the smallest acts of kindness could transform the world. Pause 3S. Pause 3S. As the first light of dawn broke over the horizon, a new chapter began for the region. Pause 2S. The villages of Alar and Amara, once symbols of division, now stood as monuments of unity and resilience. Pause 2S. The communal hall echoed with laughter and joy as people from all walks of life continued to gather, share, and grow. Pause 2S. It wasn't just the villages that had changed. The hearts of the people had transformed, embracing a future built on mutual respect and cooperation. Pause 2S. New initiatives sprang up, focusing on education, sustainable agriculture, and healthcare, ensuring that the progress made was not just preserved but expanded. Pause 2S. Young leaders emerged, inspired by the legacy of peace, ready to take on the challenges of tomorrow with compassion and wisdom. Pause 2S. The stories of Alar and Amara were no longer just tales of the past, but living lessons that guided the present and shaped the future. Pause 2S. The unity and harmony that had once seemed like a distant dream were now the foundation of a thriving community. Pause 2S. As the sun rose higher, casting its warm glow over the land, it illuminated a world transformed by the power of reconciliation and the enduring spirit of humanity. Pause 3S. This was the new dawn, a testament to the incredible potential within us all to create a better, more peaceful world. Pause 3S.